Okay, let's do some audio checks. Hey guys. Well, my screen seems to have frozen. Why have you frozen the screen? Stand by. Here we go. Now I can hear it better. All right. One more time. Hey guys. Woo! Hey guys, Dante here. And welcome back to my channel, The Burgos Art. And welcome back to another edition of Sunday Night Streaming. Sunday Night Art Streaming. Okay. So I'm just right now checking out how everything looks in focus. It seems to be pretty well focused. Hopefully that's good enough. Okay. Audio sounds good. Music's a little loud, but since I won't be talking the entire time, it's not bad at all. So yes, welcome to another Sunday night art stream. Today we're doing something a little different, nothing too crazy. Let me take off my headphones. So, what are we doing? We are sculpting. We are going to be using the lovely freeform sculpt, which is an epoxy sculpt, which is also a nice water base. I got a little bit of a water-based thing right here. I say water-based thing. Got a basin of water. That came out weird. And so let's go through the setup first. First things first, I got this really cool pad. It's meant for like watercolors. You know, they advertise it for children who make a mess, but it's frankly just great for anything really. It's a silicone pad. The idea is you put your watercolors in here. It has a little slot for like extra brushes. And this over here, I don't know if it's on camera. It's on camera. This over here is supposed to pop up. Let me take the water I have off of this. I don't want it to like shake everywhere. But it pops up and makes a cup. I saw this advertised on it was advertised on Etsy. Not Etsy, sorry. It was advertised on Instagram. And then I guess there was a big boom of it. People started buying it like crazy. I got this at a discount store where people tend to send back Amazon packages for whatever reason. And it ends up there. So this is basically for watercolor. But because it's silicone, it should also work well for my epoxy sculpt material so it doesn't stick to the table like it always does. I will not be using this silicone fold-out cup because the epoxy may dry to that. So I am using a separate cup for that. But this is going to be great. It's going to be great. This is what this pad is. As for the project itself, let me check my screen. There we go. Sorry, just making sure I can see everything that's on screen. So what's going on is this. Back in 2017, I want to say it was 2017, The Amazing Spider-Man came out, right? And there's a reason I'm talking about this. A bunch of my friends and I walked through the city. I think we stopped at a college or something. We stopped somewhere for some event. And they had a bunch of like, you know, high school to college age individuals at a table who were just hired to advertise for The Amazing Spider-Man or the premiere for it. But once the day was over, they were like, okay, well, now that the day's over, everything that has a date on it, yeah, here we go. Monday, June 25th, to Sunday, July 1st. That was this event they were having. Once the day was over, they just threw everything out. They were throwing out like bags and bags of like random like material, including a bunch of these pins. So I just have this big like Ziploc bag full of these pins, and I said, let me take them because I know I could use them for something. I could probably paint on them or whatever, you know, a lot easier than buying the machine that makes, you know, like makes individual pieces. I like to do, I make them individually. Why not do them individually on a higher scale? Paint them yourself, sculpt them yourself. So I got into the habit of taking these pins. Every so often I'll go into the drawer and I'll pull these out from one of my supply drawers and I'll sculpt on them. And I have done a few sculptures in the past. I have a series of like little monster pins with like a cyclops eye. There was one that was a fly, and there was one that was a spider. Someone bought both of those from me, and I decided Now, since last week we painted my miniature the holders, which are now finished. I finished the last process of that. I'll show you how they came out in a bit. I did the last wet brush and dry brush on that. I decided to jump back into some epoxy sculpting. So we're gonna epoxy sculpt this, but rather than use all of the freaking epoxy sculpt I have as a base, we are using Crayola Mold Magic. So this is a foam, air dry foam, right? So I use it a lot as filler. Some people might use, if you're someone who bakes clay, like Sculpey, you might use aluminum, like a ball of aluminum in the center. But I use this stuff. It is air dry, which means once I put it a loose shape of what I want, I let this sucker sit for the past like 3 days. Because it needs to really, really dry, and when it does shrink a little bit. So I let it sit in case it shrinks so much that it pops off of this. Now if I put my nail into it, there's still a bit of a squish, but I think it's strong enough where we could sculpt on top and then wrap the clay also around the edges. So even if they continue to shrink, it won't fall off. That's my only real fear. But what's crazy about this stuff is that like I have some of this stuff out, and if you let it like air dry for like a month or so, it eventually becomes truly rock solid, like really, really rock solid. But I don't want to wait that long, and it's hard enough where it's not gonna like move around on me. A little bit is lifting as it dries. Like I said, it's kind of lifting a little bit off the edge. But we're gonna sculpt over this and then sculpt over the button anyway. So we're gonna do a complete shell around this almost. And what's really cool about this particular material is that it lasts a long time. I've had this bag open, or rather cut open, with just that little clip, sitting in a drawer for like months. I mean months, and it's still soft. So if you're looking for like a cheap way to do like quick shapes, this is your thing. But once again, because it air dries and shrinks, wrapping it around an object, like decorating a small jar, a glass jar, might not be the best because it will crack off the glass. So what are we working with? What are the monstrous ideas? We're doing creepy stuff. What's the idea? So I have a kind of werewolf-like shape. It's gonna have big mutton chops. Just a sloppy slime monster, or maybe a not so much the ghost like drippy ghost, more maybe a slimy ghost creature. Might be kind of hard to see, but you can see the lip. You could probably see the little lip design. There's gonna be like an Audrey 2 with vines all around it, little shop of horror inspired. If this comes out right, it will be a really fleshy gash, a bloody gash, and then you have a little hand here, a little 3-fingered hand, like a little creature's looking on the inside. Not sure how that's gonna come out. This is just gonna be a bunch of teeth, like just fleshy teeth. Let me also adjust the lighting. I think it's a bit bright. Okay, now we're working with metal pins and everything. And where the hell is the freaking button? There we go. I feel as if... Oh, wrong button. Duh. If I do yellow, that might be a little bit better. Also, it helps on the eyes. What's the next one? Oh, yeah. This is going to be like a little creepy maggot kind of creature. That should look nice. A pizza? I was just thinking, what if I make a pizza that's like really disgusting? But then I was also thinking, what if I just do a bunch of pins that are like a New York pizza? So this might be, we'll see about this one. And then we're gonna have a goat with also, there's a little goatee and lots of like almost a mane around his neck, like a little Satan goat. Satan, praise Satan goat. And yeah, that's the plan. That is the setup for today. I got my sculpting tools just off camera. What I'm upset about is I cannot find my special sculpting spoon. I have a spoon I use to dig in here and get this stuff out because it's kind of hard. Even though it's epoxy, it gets a little hard. So stand by. I'm going to see if I can find where the hell that spoon is at. It's just like an old spoon that I had no intention of using for food, and now it just up and disappeared. It is very annoying. I guess we're going to have to use a different tool. Okay, let me check my video feed again. Yeah, I think that lighting should work. Okay. Ow. And, has these two large pockets here, so I can take a good amount of what I need. So like I said, this is an epoxy sculpt material, which means it's a one-to-one. It's a one-to-one. I say it means because some sculpting material isn't one-to-one, but it is meant to be one-to-one. And what I like to do, I could probably use this entire row. I make little individual round bolitas, little cute bolitas of the two parts. One is a gray part. This gray part is really stiff, which is why I try to use like a spoon or something to grab it. And the other part is more like a whitish color, which is softer. So if I like made a ball and left on the table, if you time lapse it, it would slowly like spread outward like a blob. I'm using a sculpting tool with like a loop at the end to try and cut some pieces out. You should never mix more than you need, and then it just goes to waste. This has a pretty good work time. I want to say you get maybe a good 20 minutes or so of work time off of this. And then, if you don't like it, you can just like sand it down afterwards. I really like using this when I do small sculptures as opposed to just using clay. Because then there's no risk of me dropping it and bending. Like, once it's hard, and then it can just like grind it down and change it later on. So it's good material. There's like more like whitish cream color. So there's freeform sculpt, right? But they do sell, like if you don't want to bother waiting and you don't want to risk the shrinkage of the air dry, Smooth On makes freeform sculpt and freeform foam, which is exactly what it sounds like. It is an epoxy foam that's kind of meant to go hand in hand with this. So you would do everything I just did with the yellow out of the freeform foam. Let that dry for a bit. Look at that freaking bending. Look at that bend. Anyway. God, I wish I had that spoon. This freaking thing's bending. But yeah, so as I was saying, you could do the freeform foam from the exact same company. But I already had a lot of this, so I didn't bother buying that. I had a lot of this stuff. So when I bought this, for like $25, the two of them were like $25. It's a steal. Like it's a bit of a learning curve because it's water based and because it's epoxy. You might have a little bit of trouble getting the sculpted detail because it sticks to everything. Like it's very sticky. So you might at first have problems getting like small details. So I'm not sure if it will work really well for people who like using what's it called, the green stuff, molding material. You might want to get some. I'm not sure if it's really up your alley. Cause you gotta really wet all your tools, or else it just sticks to them. But who knows? If it works for you, it works for you. Oh, this stuff is super sticky. It's tough. It's fighting me. It's not as soft as I wish it was. I'm just measuring to kind of get equal. So I'm just doing a bunch of equal sizes. And once again, the music for this is Streamlabs fair use music. Or at least it should be. Because I think YouTube tried. I think I didn't get an email for it, but I would have sworn I saw like underneath one of my videos. I thought I saw a flag of a recent video that was using these soundtracks, and I'm like, that can't be right. Like, how would you legally provide your music to freaking Streamlabs for streaming, but then it still gets flagged like on YouTube? I find that very weird. I don't know, we'll see. Oh, there it goes. Damn, man. Freaking broke the tool. Look at that. Nah, this thing was like super old anyway. All that because I can't find a spoon. That's a pain in the butt. Anyway, luckily I have other tools. If this was Dante a few years ago, I'd be like, no, that's the only tool I can afford. Now I luck out. I have enough money where I could break a singular art tool and it won't be the end of the world. In other news, if you're also newly joining us on this stream, up on the right, on the canvas board, you will see a list of upcoming conventions that I'll be doing. In fact, I believe not next weekend, but the weekend after will be Cosmic Con over in Queens. It's my first time doing that convention. If you're in the New York area, definitely check it out. It's the convention's been around for 3 years, so hopefully they got their stuff together. You know, they know what they're doing. And then I have two more conventions as of right now, definitely labeled. Definitely like in the can, as they say. Not even in the can. That's when it's done. I have them scheduled for sure. Let's just say that. After the one in Queens, there will be one in Long Island for anyone who likes tabletop work, which hopefully will be the spot where I'll be selling a good amount of my stuff, because a lot of my stuff that I've been working on lately is like miniatures and monsters, and hopefully that'll all work very well for a tabletop convention. So there's the Long Island one, Long Island Retro Gaming, and then there is later on Brooklyn Comic Con. Alright. So who should we work on first? I kind of want to work on the mouth. I want to work, because the wolf is going to need a bit more. I need to get some reference to really make sure I sculpt a good looking wolf. So yeah, let's get our hands in there. Wet my fingertips. And let's mix the big guys, the two big guys. This is another time consuming part, so please excuse me. I'm just like trying to squeeze this clay, because once again the clay is not dried because it's gone bad. I mean, it hasn't gone bad. It's not useless. It's just it's dried because it's just a hard clay, but it hasn't solidified because it's an epoxy. Only when you mix the two does it really solidify. So this is going to be just a bunch of creepy, like there's a bunch of sharp teeth with like flesh pulled over it, like a real eldritch horror looking mouth. I don't know if I'm going to do teeth upon teeth, but I do have the first row of teeth ready to go. And then we're also going to have to put some clay inside the mouth. Like inside here. Between the teeth. We're going to put some flat material in there. Let me see if I can get it nice. This stuff is a bit hard until you really need it. Need it. Like, so, I might use a metal tool. Here's an old one I like. This one is just curved on one side, sharp on the other. That'd be nice. I can use this rubbery tool with the round bit at the end for as it gets softer and hopefully it's more workable. And let's see, what else should I grab from here? I'm looking at my my sister gave me this. Sister Burgos, and I thank her so much for that because she saw I needed some really good sculpting tools. I have this for my sister, and I have like a bunch of metal dentist tools given to me by one of my best friends, Cretorius Rex on Instagram, or Joe Testament. His name, that's his real name, Joe. And hopefully, with all those tools, I'm slowly getting better. Practice, practice, practice. That's really what it comes down to. I'm aware it's been kind of making waves now on the internet. Was it PewDiePie? Like, I don't even follow PewDiePie, but he's making waves on the internet because he was demonstrating, how it is repetition and practice, in order to achieve a certain skill. And he did it recently with his, I think it was like a 100 art day challenge. Like, he was basically drawing. He started drawing and did more or less did a drawing every day for 100 days and was showing his like progression through that and like his skill level increasing. And it shows that if you put your effort into it, you can get better at anything. Will you be a master at it? Well, just continue, but you have to get better first. You got to get good. Okay, now it's nice and soft. So I think we're gonna fill in the inside first. We're gonna fill in, do some fleshy stuff on the inside. Yeah. And this is the issue with this particular material. You need to wet your fingers and wet the tools so it doesn't stick to you. But you have to also find that balance where it doesn't get so wet you can't use it. Like, it doesn't want to stick at all. It'll like slide off. But because it's so sticky, in my opinion, it also works immensely well when you're doing like customization on figurines, because it will stick to like all like the little bits of plastic on the face and on the hands. Like, it's really good for like it's a balance. Like, it's hard to do small detail when you're working with something that is like when its texture is fighting you, when its stickiness and its adhesiveness is fighting you. But because it's so sticky, I find that it also works very well on small figurines, not miniatures, not D&D miniatures, but rather I find it works very well if you're trying to like customize a Spider-Man figurine, put some Venom tendrils on it. Like, this material is relatively new. I've had it for a few years now. I've seen there's plenty of like epoxy materials you could get online, but a lot of it is more industry based for like plumbing and stuff. This is an art material. This is meant to be for art. Let me see. I saw a spatula kind of thing in here. Hold on. No. There's a tool here I saw that was had like a spatula look to it. This might work. Has a curve. I mean, it's kind of like this, but slightly smaller, so that should help us. Now, because the real trick is going to make this filling have depth to it, aside from just building up the teeth and the gums on top of that. These pins are definitely like meant to be sculpted material, sculptures. They're not flat pins. To be honest, I'm not sure. In my own criticism, I'm not sure how well they work as like backpack pins, because they're kind of bulky. But hey, if someone likes them that way, that's what I'm doing. But they have a lot of depth to them because of that. They're like really heavy material. There we go. Yeah, this tool is perfect. Just filling in all the little. So, I could share some info that's not too private, because even though it was done among me and my friends, we did kind of discuss this as well. So, myself, Pretorius Rex, that's Joe. My old friend Orc Punch, who I think I've mentioned is back in the city, which is great. And my other friend named Red Spectra, who I've definitely mentioned on this channel before. In fact, if you were to go into my YouTube channel, see, this came right off because it's too wet. If you were to go into my YouTube channel, you would find a project I did for him. He didn't ask for it. Like, I did it because I wanted to, in which I made a statue of one of his characters. He's a content guy. He hasn't done much content like streaming lately, but if you're into retro video games and you want to see, like, just get an idea of what kind of older games / games that will only like Japan release that might interest you, check out Red Spectra. It's spelled just like the way you think, like Spectra, like light, Red Spectra, on Instagram. We all met up yesterday. Who jumped into the chat? There he is. My ears are burning. There's Pretorius Rex in the chat. Hello, Joe. I'm utilizing the new mat. This is a great way to like organize all the little individual epoxy clays. Anyway, so as Pretorius Rex in the chat can confirm, we met up yesterday and we laughed and we laughed and we laughed until it freaking hurt. And we said something we've always say to each other, and we've been saying to each other for like what feels like technically freaking a decade now. Man, we need to start recording our hangouts, and we always say that, but we never do. But now that COVID has come and gone-ish, now's like the time to like, yeah, you know what? The streaming world has changed. Like, I got into streaming during COVID. And we need to start recording it. And by recording, I mean like it's just a bunch of guys playing video games, often video games that are really bad, or video games that are just kind of cheesy, but it's just us riffing and making fun and laughing. And I'm going to preface this right now, and I feel like I'll have to preface it if I'm the one hosting the stream. We are, my friends, my close friends, are, give me a second, why is the chat not moving? Give me a second. That's weird. Sorry. We are, lighthearted guys. We're LGBT friendly. We have no gripes with any culture or religion. We have no gripes with people because people are people. I consider my friend group to be a group of good people. But with that said, our humor can be kind of raunchy and insulting at times. But we are a group of good people who while quoting someone or while imitating a fictional character, may drop an N-bomb. We try not to. May make crass jokes. Calling people queer. And look at that queer weirdo. But in the end, like we have nothing against those communities. I mean, for God's sake, we live in New York City. Half the people who are friends of us and we are friends with are in those multiple communities. But our humor can be really aggressive. And I want to preface that because when we start streaming, I want to make sure people know that. like a lot of our humor comes from imitating people who are angry. It's like when someone's more of a right winger, someone's more of a left, insults the right wing by imitating them. That's kind of our humor. That's kind of what we do. So I kind of want to just preface that a little bit for future streams when the time comes. So I'm right now doing like curves like this as much as I can in order to fake like the inner muscles of the cheeks to give a sense of depth in what we're working with here. And sometimes you gotta let that dry a little bit anyway. Because you're over here trying to sculpt, but you just can't get the detail because it's too soft. Like it's flexing. But that little tiny little ball, it's not a needle, it's a ball at the end of that. Just like this has. I'm trying not to scrape. That's the issue. I'm not trying to scrape it off. I'm trying to like just do a few line details. I was watching I forgot his name now. I was watching a YouTuber who does usually like he summarizes and he reviews in the way in which you summarize and like make quips. That's like like an internet reviewer as opposed to like a review. He's an internet reviewer, so he riffs on movies in order to like give his opinion on it. And he was doing The Thief of Baghdad, and I remember I've heard about this, but I remember someone once told me that they were not fans of Disney's Aladdin. Because despite like the amazing voice acting of Robin Williams and certain individuals, that Disney just straight up stole the Thief of Baghdad, and the Thief of Baghdad is in itself is a remake of another film anyway, but like the character names, it's the whole Kimber the White Lion versus Simba the Lion kind of thing, where like even if there have been remakes of that story, yes or no, it's still an issue of like, man, you guys just straight up just took every name of every character. So the Thief of Baghdad, has a character named Jafar, has a character named Abu. You get the idea. So he was doing a video of it. I just finished watching it, and and he points out the elephant in the room. It's apparently like a classic movie, like one of the award-winning movies of its time. But because of like the obvious like references that Disney took from it, I have the theme, not the theme song, but the song Aladdin sings. One step, one step. It's singing when he's running. It's like from the very beginning when you first meet Aladdin, and he's talking about like every day of his life, he just always has to be one step ahead of everyone else in order to like survive. It's the intro song, I guess you could call it that. The Who Is This Character song. Just a little snack, guys. Come on. One Jump. Is that the actual title? Is One Jump the title, or is that just like the most iconic lyric of it? I want to get, now that I'm talking about Aladdin, I definitely want to get Rex over here in a chat, but because I'm at my table in my living room, to like run another cord over there, to run another cord so I could hear him on Discord and like live chat would be a pain in the ass. Sorry, dude. And of all things, of all times, now is the time I should get you on freaking in the freaking chat, like actual audio chat. Okay. We're gonna let it dry a little bit, but I think we got enough like texture in there. I think I have enough texture. Just run some small lines. Okay, so now that we got like the general texture of the inner mouth, let's build up those teeth. I steal only what I can't afford, which is everything. Cool, I forgot what I was watching. It might have been on Watch Mojo. It was some YouTube channel where it was a clip from an interview. Don't know how old the interview is, but it was a clip from an interview with a interviewed a voice actor, and he says, you know, even if you're not typecast as one particular character, when you make an iconic character, people remember you for it. And they're always asking him, like whenever they want to get a video of him, like, you know, it's not, you know, because now everyone has a phone, of course. Back in the 90s, that wasn't a thing, but now if he does conventions today, people will ask him to like say on camera a line from the movie, and it's always the same line. It's, "Do you trust me?" And he admits, like, the way he says it in the interview is like he seems a little tired of saying that. Yes, here's something I like to do with this. I wet my finger to hold it, and I blow this side to dry that. So that's dried, and then I could put it on and just roll my finger, and it won't stick to the finger. And that's how I usually do. That's how I get some of this onto the foam understructure when I'm struggling. My chat's doing something weird. Like, so on the screen, sorry, you guys on the shared screen can see all the chat, but on the side window, when I'm trying to read the chat, it's like cutting off the most recent one. I don't know why it's doing that. Poking my head up in the screen just so I can see. It's one jump. Yeah, it is one jump. Thank you. I got to zoom in. Let me zoom in so I can see it better. There we go. I've been criticized recently about not responding to chat responding to chat not quick enough. Quack enough. Now, I'm not trying to make these teeth even. Like, they're just meant to be sharp, monstrous teeth. So I'm okay with them being somewhat oddly proportioned. That's kind of the point of it. It's not meant to be pretty. I probably won't even have these done by the time the first convention rolls in next week. I might have like one done, and I might have like one painted or something, but that's about it. But yeah, I just wanted to get back into this because I'm realizing, okay, I'm planning to do lots of conventions, but I'm also in this bad mental state where I'm like, oh, I probably won't sell much. Like I'm mentally thinking I won't sell much at these conventions. And I'm like, no, you need to still produce the material, because what if you do very well at a convention? You need to have stuff to sell. So I can't slow down. Like, I have to like, okay, I made these, let me continue making more and more stuff. Now the teeth, I don't know if you can see it, they are curving inward. So as these dry, I might layer the teeth to have them curve outward to give more depth once again. Because I'm laying it on top of each other. I'm not getting inside and behind the teeth. But if I let this dry, then I layer on top, I could then dig. It's like this, right? And if I layer another piece, once this first piece dries, if I layer another piece, I could then casually dig this out, and that will give me the depth I'm looking for when I get there. Once again, everything's just really soft and wet at the moment. Like I said, once you mix, you have about a 20-minute work time, which is why it's all small pieces. So at our gathering yesterday, our little friend meetup, we don't meet and play poker. We meet and play video games and watch stupid YouTube videos. But more importantly, we enjoy each other's company. That's really what it is. Orc Punch brought over I'm brain farting over here. He brought over his mini. Haha! His PlayStation Mini. There we go. Sorry, just mental fart. What is going on? But he brought over his PlayStation Mini, and it has a few games downloaded on it that didn't come with the actual PlayStation Mini. Like, he added to it. One of which is Pepsi Man. It's such a weird freaking game. Addictive though, but such a stupid game. He had that. He had what's the one? It's thematically, it's apparently like an actual sequel to Dig Dug. Is it Mr. Driller? You got Mr. Driller. And it's it's a cutesy little game. It's a little kid with a pink hat and blue overalls and a little drill and he's popping bubbles. But then, like, in the background as he's going through, you have like scenes of chaos. There's like a car through a building and like a train that's derailed, and we're like, there's a story here. Like, Japan has been hit with an earthquake, and like the city is crumbling, and like trains are bursting out from the underground subway system and crashing into homes. And they tell this little kid, you must go underground and find the source of it. and we just started making like this weird narrative that like it's kind of hinted in the game when you play it, but it's still odd. Like one of the narratives was like, I was like it's his grandfather, who's like the original Dig Dug, sits him down and he says, "Where you will be going, there are no bike pumps, there are no dragons, but oxygen, my son, my great grandson, oxygen. You must search for it, or you will never come back." Like this, just like really over dramatic. And then finally, at one point, one of my buddies was like, "This is like a one-way trip, right?" Like he's just digging downward, and there's no animation of like a ladder behind him. Like he's doing this knowing he's not coming home, and I was like, no, he's doing it knowing that if he must keep going, he must dig to the other side of the earth if he wishes to escape. Like a freaking Jules Verne story where he's like, he must keep digging and then use the Earth's gravitational core to free himself when he's done. Like it's the making of like a really funny like video game skit. Like I want to so badly just do a video game skit about like it's the game, it's cutting between like serious, cutting between the game and then like really serious live action moments. I mentioned, so I mentioned, I mentioned Red Spectra, and I'd say go check out his channel if you're into retro game stuff. He doesn't update too much on Instagram, but when he does, it's usually just about like games he's bought and games he's defeated within the year. But definitely check out Katorius Rex as well. Joe is constantly producing really really cool ideas, and we've been bouncing back and forth. It's his idea, but I've been giving him critiques on the idea in the vein of knowing that he's gonna freaking just make it the best thing he can, because that's what Joe does. Check out Katorius Rex on Instagram, because it is just a plethora. No, I'm saying that wrong. I'm switching around the letters. It is an amazing collection. There we go. It is an amazing collection of pencil drawing concepts of just like superheroes and creatures, and just check it out, because he's right now also working on Joe is constantly working on so many ideas. He has so many like IPs, if that's the best way I could put it. And check out his Instagram channel if you're just looking for just like really really good pencil work and really good designs, and just creatures upon creatures, from aliens to robots to robot aliens to creatures from other dimensions to things that have no real name, because he just made them up. You gotta check out his work. I need to remember, when I get a chance, to adjust how the chat looks like during the stream. I want to see if I could visually remove the restream label and just make more room for like chat in the box. You know, if that makes sense. One of the things I did to speed up the drying process, I took a pin, like a pretty thick sewing pin, and just poked a whole bunch of holes all throughout the foam to kind of like circulate air into it. Joe knows this. I'm kind of stubborn when it comes to like, if I find a piece of art material that I like, I kind of stick with it. So, like I said, I've been using this epoxy, and it works. It does the job just perfectly. But I'm still using plastilina clay for a lot of my sculpture work, and I really need to. He's telling me I gotta. He's been trying to get me to switch over to monster clay. The plastilina, once again, if you don't know, has many limitations regarding like what can be molded around it. So if you're doing a latex mold, you can't use that with plastilina clay because plastilina is sulfur based. So I just have so much of the damn stuff. I'm just slowly. I just want to, if I'm doing like a plaster mold, I don't care. Plaster's fine. Urethane rubber, that's fine. Like air, urethane rubber, that's fine. But like silicone stuff, I can't use it. Which is why I like to use this. Because if I do a sculpture in this, I can use any, as long as it's a soft, flexible molding material, I can use urethane rubber or silicone and do a mold of this. Let go, let go. See, it's stuck to me, like a boogie. That's a bit close. Let's use this last piece over here. We're not being symmetrical. Let me see how well focused are we? Are we in good focus? That's pretty good focus. It's a bit of because once again I'm using a digital camera, which has a really wide frame, really wide angle. I say a digital camera. I'm using a computer camera, like for face cam stuff. Has a wide angle, but I'm not sure how the resolution is at times. I gotta adjust it and then watch the video to see how it looks. Let me see. So if I bring it up, give me a second. I'm holding it, then I gotta wait like a second or two to see how it looks on camera because there's always like a delay. Because once again I'm not using my phone camera, which had the Droid cam. Yeah, I mean it's not as high def, I guess you could say, as like some of the cameras, but it does the job for now. It does the job well enough. Let's mix the next two. No, let's mix these two kind of medium-sized ones. I'm just gonna do these teeth. Then I'm not sure if I want to continue building up the teeth I have, or start working on the gums and stretched, like I guess you could say lips around it, or the flesh that's gonna be stretched around it. We'll figure that out. Oh, I need some water. Not to use, to drink. You know what? As I'm mixing this in my hand, I'm gonna get some water, guys. Stand by. Nothing beats that New York pipe water. I'm being kind of serious when I say that too. Still got a bit of a mess here at the work table. Enough to work, but a mess nonetheless. You want to mix it till you get like a uniform light gray. That's the shape that's the color you want. I also noticed the camera has a bit of a fisheye lens effect, which is why everything looks a little curved. But I guarantee you, it is all flat on the table. Now that the original first layer, that in between the teeth layer, like the inside of the mouth, is starting to like harden a little bit, I can get in there and carve some of it out around the teeth in order to make, once again, to help with the depth, to make it look a little further in than it might actually be. It's all about the illusion. have to remember to keep it on camera. I always pull it towards me, which is why I try to lean forward and like be right in the camera, like right here. This is like it's like a wedge, like this like wedge tool as well. It's good for like harsh edges because it's soft. It doesn't cut into the clay. It gives you the harsh. It gives you a bit of a harsh edge as you sculpt without like scraping away too much. I do have some resin teeth, like human looking teeth. And I was tempted just to use those for this. And it would have made it a lot easier and a lot quicker. Just put a bunch of clay and then put a bunch of human resin teeth in it. But I'd rather just do the whole thing in clay. That way it's more cohesive with the painting process later on. Because if I'm using like realistic teeth, I have to then make sure the gums really look realistic. You know, give it some layers of gloss. Give it like a saliva, slimy flesh, a real good flesh look to it. There's a little bit of the pin showing through, but that's fine. Because at the center, it should be at the lowest anyway. Because I'm doing this on a pin, I can always grab it right by the actual safety pin itself if I don't want to touch the edges, which is also a nice little thing about it. debating if I should just add more like smaller teeth on the edges too. It's kind of like sticking out here and there. Like, let me see. Just sharpen it like a little spike. Not the base of it. And just like do things like this. I don't know. That'd be too much. Let me get the gums in. Let me get like a layer of gum in and see how that looks. I am definitely gonna add another layer. Like I said, you see how it's all curving inward? I don't know if you could. I'm trying to hold it at the right angle where you can see it. But if I twist it a little back and forth, you can see it. Everything's like this. I'm gonna sculpt it to bring it out like that. But let's do some gum layers. Yeah, this mat's a good idea. Doing this on like a latex mat, it doesn't like, I could just roll it back and forth. It won't stick to the freaking table and everything. It's so good. Best $7 I've ever spent. Let's do one on top and one on bottom. We're gonna layer that up. It's gonna be layers of flesh. Now it's not gonna be, I mean, it'll be a little smooth because they're gums, but it's going from gum, there's no lips. It goes from gums all the way around. It's like when the lips and the gums meet into one in like those horror movies, you know, any kind of horror movie where you see that stuff. So I am going to do like layers of it. Snaky pasta like layers. Go. And there's also the issue that I'm kind of reintroducing water into this, into the yellow. So I gotta be careful with that. I mean, I guess it helps it merge a bit better. It helps it kind of anchor it to itself. That's looking good so far. I was thinking more like horrific, like freaking. What are those things called in Dungeons and Dragons? Freaking mimic, just teeth upon teeth upon teeth. Think like Resident Evil, early Resident Evil, which is like at the end, the last boss just becomes this giant monstrous thing of teeth. But because it kind of like goes up and comes down, like it looks like it has a snarl to its face. A bit more comical, but I'm happy with it. What is it? Well, not so much in Resident Evil 3. Resident Evil 3, has a different ending. I played Resident Evil 3 is the only Resident Evil game I've played straight through. I still have it. I love that game. Nemesis in that game still keeps a very animalistic form throughout the game until the very end, where he is just a giant blob. But I think it's Resident Evil. Is it Resident Evil 2? I think when you're on, or at least in the remake, I know for sure. In the remake, there's a scene where you're running to a train. It's just this meat and mouth and teeth filling the tunnel of the train like a drain. There we go. Just plowing through, trying to get to you. Should I be wearing gloves? Probably. Does the tutorial online about how to use this stuff show a person wearing gloves? Absolutely. Will it hurt you from not wearing gloves? No. No. I mean, obviously, if you have like an open wound and stuff, you don't want to do that. But like, it is just a, obviously you gotta wash your hands. You gotta scrub it to like get the thin layer of this material off of you. Don't toss it down the regular. Don't toss the tissues on the toilet. That's it. But it's not gonna be the end of the world. Because once you really knead into it, look how soft it is. It's really good. Once again, gotta find that balance between not sticking to you, but still sticking to the sculpture. I'm starting to wrap it around the edge. Now we can see it really coming together before like the fleshiness around the edge here. What's cool about this particular this mat is that it also has a little areas to like put your brushes. Like when this is sticking all the way up, you can just put your brushes like into the little holes right here, which is very nice. Let me flip this. There we go. sliding too much. Now it's too wet. It's sliding everywhere. I'm just trying to wrap it around the edge. There we go. That is looking good. Still got a few areas to fill in. I mean, even if some of this yellow sticks through, that's fine. It's going to be all painted over anyway, as long as it matches, as long as it does what it needs to do in the final sculpt, you know? Trying to do a little bit of that overlap, like I said. Just make sure it's anchored. I'm just doing like wavy lines all in the flesh here. In some spots the clay is starting to solidify, so I have to use the metal tool to like allow me to really actually dig in there. That does look pretty good. I like the just the you know, just the lines themselves are already giving it like a nice gruesome feel to it. So I'll probably, you know, let this sit for a second or two, and I'll probably once again build up. The plan is I'll probably build up the teeth, add another layer just on the edge of the teeth for the gums, sculpt that and blend that in. Let me just wet the back and like smooth out the overlap. Might even add more overlap on the final pass, but right here, make sure I'm in good focus. Hold on. How's that for focus? That is the general look we got from this. Not exactly what I first imagined, but I like it. I actually am happy with this, even though it's not the, you know, the sharp teeth emerging from flesh that I imagine. It's still good. Still very good. We're gonna let that sit a little bit, let the moisture drain out of it, if that makes sense. Okay, it's an easy one. It's gonna be smooth areas with some sculpted lips. Let's see if we can get Audrey 2 kind of on the way over here. Feed me Seymour. Feed me all night long. You can do it. Feed me Seymour. Feed me all night long. Wouldn't you like a Cadillac car or a date with Patty Lamar? I'm gonna go find you, get it. If you want it, baby. Forgot I had this really nice sharp wooden tool. I can use that for fine details as well. I actually have the soundtrack for that on record, and I saw the movie when I was young, and I didn't know who any of the actors were. I mean, I know who some of the actors were, but like there were a few I didn't know, so I had no idea like what their full range of singing talent was. And the actress who plays Audrey, not Audrey 2, the actor who plays the woman that the plant is named after. Oh man, she got pipes, man. Like when she sings Suddenly Seymour, and she jumps between her character voice, which is a little squeaky voice, like really high pitched squeaky voice, who's like really, she's mousy and she's high pitched, to just bellows those lines. Suddenly Seymour is like, oh, there's a level. God, it's so sexy. Your voice. It's not even sultry. It's like when the voice hits you so hard, it just is sexually attractive. It's not trying to be sultry or trying to like ASMR. It's such a good singing voice that it does something to you. And yes, I am a fan of the happy ending. I prefer the actual happy ending as opposed to the original director's ending. And the original director's ending, to be honest, was much similar, much closer to the original film in tone. But I like the happy ending. I like it so much more. And I love, like, spoiler alert for those who haven't seen it, but when the hero vanquishes the villain, you hear like in background trumpets, I think, but it's the Suddenly Seymour. It's a song that he sings with Audrey that like returns right at the last minute, and just it's moving. It's really moving. I love it, man. Okay. So how are we sculpting? I'm just gonna feed it in here, because you might not be able to see it, but it's the Audrey head, the Audrey kind of face with like just a few vines kind of wrapping around it. So I'm just right now going to fill in. I'm just going to right now follow the lip line that I created. This very vague lip line. And then we'll also sculpt actual, like, you know, you gotta put the lips on it. Doing the bottom jaw first. Just like doing that. And it's gonna have to be a bit, this is also gonna be built up because I want it to be rounded more. So I'm gonna do a few layers on that too. Something right there. I just caught something that's bothering me. Let's smooth that out, shall we? Looks like I feel it now. It's kind of like fighting me, which is perfect. It's not completely hardened, but it's enough where like you could push into it and like really start moving stuff around without it horribly sticking to you. There. I had to fight myself to get stuff done today. I hung out with a friend so much last night that I woke up super late. The whole day was the whole day was shot really. I woke up late, stayed in bed even later. You know, didn't do much around the house. Freaking took a nap. Woke up later than I should have. But I had to go. No, I'm going to do a stream, and more importantly, I'm going to do a stream. I'm going to start getting these like underway. Want to get like maybe 1 or 2 done within the week. I might, no promises, but I might do some streams throughout this week working on these specifically. Just to like keep the momentum of the project going and to get some more, content out there. Come on, this does not want to mix. Like I can see spots of them that are just jerk. Come on. There we go. Let go. Let go. Put you right here. Put you in the box. Get in your box. Get a nice big bottom lip in here. I'm thinking the bottom lip should just be like a simple shape. It's the top lip that really gives it like, because it's a giant mouth, but the lips are only really in the front, like a kind of kissy lip. That's really how they got the puppet to like both read as a plant and as a person. The lips don't actually wrap around the entirety of the form. It's kind of like that. Okay. That's the start of that. If you have not seen Little Shop of Horrors, do yourself a favor, check it out. It's a really fun musical. It has great music, great actors, great puppetry. It's Frank Oz directed it. If you don't know who Frank Oz is, Frank Oz was a good friend of Jim Henson, a skilled writer, director, and puppeteer. But to be more specific, Frank Oz is Yoda and Miss Piggy. He was Miss Piggy. He was Yoda. He performed them physically and did the voices for them, as well as a number of other characters from The Muppet Show. but he also ventured into writing and creating. So I believe he was the head director. I think he was the main director. I'm not sure producer or whatever, but he did Little Shop of Horrors was his. At least the musical movie version of it. The original Little Shop of Horrors is a black and white film. Strange enough, with a young Jack Nicholson in it as like a random side character. Like, it is not who you expect. The original black and white Little Shop of Horrors, you can actually find it like on YouTube or something, and it's okay. It's just it's a weird movie. It's a weird movie from like the black and white era. So maybe like 50s. No, early 50s. No, 50s is right. It'd be black and white era. Still black and white. So what's weird in it might not match up with what you find weird. It's just weird. Every character in that film is weird. Everyone has a weird oddity thing to them. Then it's the musical, and then you have the musical movie. Not sure what came first. Not sure if it was the musical movie came first or the Broadway show. I don't know. But check out Little Shop of Horrors. Once again, there's a director's cut, the original director's cut, and then there's like the theatrical cut. I prefer the theatrical cut. The director's cut is weird. It has a completely different ending. That's what it comes down to. Everything else is the same except for the ending. If you prefer a more like triumphant ending, fine. If you prefer a more like solemn ending, that's fine, but know the difference. Should I use this last bit we have right now? Because we're winding down. Should I use it to try? Let's see if we could get this one as complete as possible. I don't want to jump into this if this isn't really finished. My hands are sticky. So I'm trying to make a triangle where the tip is thicker than, like, in other words, where this part is thicker than this part. It's like an opposite pizza. Like that. Let's see if that works. If that works, we'll rinse and repeat for all the teeth on this. Wrong tool. Well, not the wrong tool, it just wasn't working the way I thought it would. Yeah, let's cut out the underside of this. Yeah. Don't know if that's coming on camera. I might be holding it too close to my face. Sorry about that. There we go. Yeah, it's good to do it now before it gets too hard and I can't sculpt it anymore. Okay. Let go. Does that work? From the front it works, from the side it looks kind of weird though. That's what's bothering me. Use your fingers. Get in there with your fingers. Use your mitts. Kind of mixed on that. Maybe I could do like, I would do like 1 or 2 teeth. That would, some are raised higher than others. And see how that looks. And also give it a little bit of texture for the teeth. Like do lines, that way the teeth aren't actually as smooth as you would expect. That also looks nice too. Because the issue is, the more you carve at it, you then start making your way back down to the foam layer. And you could carve that out too. There it works. And no one's gonna be looking at your pin sideways. It is meant to be forward. So like bringing them up, raising the teeth up. I don't know how well you guys can see that. Let me see how it looks on camera. So we did these 2 teeth. We've raised them up. There's a little bit of carving on the sides to kind of like give the illusion that they're hollow. And then I also did some striations going on the teeth. Let go. What are you doing? Stay there. those it looks a lot better filling it out. You know what they say? It has to look worse before it looks good, or better before. How's it? Has to look worse before it looks better, something like that. Bad before it's good. Same idea. It's funny because this tendril right here looks like like I'm going to give him like a little comb over hairdo. So I'm debating whether or not I should try and do molds of these, like to reproduce them as like multiple sculptures, especially things like this, which it's taking time to do it. Or should I just go ahead? I mean, I still sell the originals, but it's also an issue of like how much should you sell the original for? It's original sculpture as a pin. So should I? How much do I sell them for? Right, when I first started doing these, I sold them for like $20. Wasn't really sure like how much. I'm sure if I asked some of my art friends, they'll be like, no, you gotta sell them for like $30. They're original pieces, and they are original pieces. This is true. This is true. But part of me is number one, how much should I sell them for, pin by pin, individually? And there's also the idea of like, I can always lower the price if I sell them as recreations. Make a mold, copy them, but then I wouldn't be sure of how to attach them to the freaking pins, because molds are usually flat. It's iffy. Yeah, like I said, it's usually a 20-minute work time, especially if they're not wet. Which is why I'm thinking now's the best time to really work on this. That way I can sculpt underneath the teeth. So might as well work up the teeth now for the last bit of this like 20 and 15 minutes we have together. Move a little bit of this material and then spread what's there to cover up the pin again. And we have just enough, I think, to like do the bottom teeth. Oh, just saw a new chat pop in. What was that say? Damn, I missed a lot of stuff from that chat. Sorry about that. 1960. Let me make this bigger. Okay. 1960, Roger Corman production. Okay. Broadway production came first. Oh, okay. So the Broadway production came first as a musical, according to our residential genius, for Little Shop of Horrors, and then I guess afterwards, Miss Piggy went ahead and did his version. Go. Scrape out what we can. At the base of it, once again, giving the illusion of it not simply sitting on top, but actually being three-dimensional teeth. Victorious Rex, if I may ask, what do you prefer? The original planned ending for Little Shop of Horrors, or do you prefer the more like heroic ending? That I think was primarily released. I think that was primarily released in theaters. Just remember, you're on the internet, so no matter what you choose, we're still gonna judge you about it. Damn. Trying to cut this off, but this whole tooth is like a bad cap. It's just lifting off. Once again, that's the issue with if it's too wet. If it is too wet, it just slides off of the layer beneath it. Suddenly Seymour is standing beside you. I think the reason I prefer the happy ending. Okay, so the ending that was originally planned matches the original movie better, and I'm assuming the original Broadway show, because I'm not sure how the Broadway show ends. But with that being said, the events of the movie of the remake don't match the original movie. Like the original movie's ending makes sense for the original movie, because the main character is like a pushover through and through. He's a pushover through and through and does really stupid things. But in the remake, he tries to do a few good things. Like He I say good. He tries to like he plans to kill the dentist who's hurting Audrey because he cares for Audrey and the dentist doesn't. Her current boyfriend. So like, so you can't. I find it's hard to make a movie where like, I mean, if you want to be, I don't want to use the word cynical, but if you want to be like realistic, nothing comes out the way it's planned. That's obvious. That's obvious. You don't have to be cynical to have to admit that. But it's I think the best way to put it is like this. There was a movie. Oh, okay. Let's see. Let's see. What did he say? It came first. So they wrote the original Broadway show. Okay. So I think the best way to put my what I'm trying to say is this. There was a movie that came out about a struggling it's about a man and a struggling writer. They don't know each other. As the movie goes on, you realize the writer is actually writing the man's life. But then you realize the man's real. Like, you're not jumping between like the writer's mindset and what the man's doing. He's a real person. And the writer's original plan is to kill the guy off at the end of the book. But then she meets him, and she goes through like this existential crisis because she meets the person she created, and she's like, first of all, like, how many people have I created that I've also killed off in my books? Like, she goes through this crazy stuff, but she gives him the manuscript, and he reads it, and he's okay with it. He's like, don't change the ending. It's an amazing ending. But she changes the ending, spoiler alert, and he survives. And when someone says, why would you change the ending? It doesn't match up with the rest of the book. She says, well, she plans to rewrite the book. Because originally, he doesn't know he's going to die. So, if the character knows he's going to die and willingly does it, doesn't he deserve to live? And that's kind of what it comes down to for me. It's like, he's not a perfect. Seymour is not a perfect character in the play in the live action movie. He's not a perfect character. But there's certain things where I'm like, okay, I get the ending. It's meant to be like comically dark. But that would kind of work if the guy was an asshole the entire movie too. Like, you do get connected to him. I guess what it is. I get connected to Seymour. I'm like, man, he's just trying, man. And you want to see him succeed. And I get why you write a story where he wouldn't. It's perfectly fine. It's not a critique on what's better or worse. It's just more of like, man, I really want to see him succeed. That's kind of what I'm on that boat. It doesn't make it a worse ending, but I've seen people react. I've seen someone once. There was a YouTuber who reacted to it, and I don't think they knew there was two different endings. So they watched the original ending, where everything goes to shit at the end. And you could tell that the freaking YouTuber was like kind of depressed and just like, that's a bad ending. Like, they just didn't like the movie after that. Like, it literally ruined the movie for them. They were like, that's a crappy ending. And I'm sorry, but nothing ruins a good movie than a bad ending. I don't mean bad as in sad. I mean like, it just didn't jive where what you felt the movie was going. Doesn't matter how good a movie is, a bad ending is a bad ending. Ugh, I just touched something and now my hands are filthy. But yeah, nothing ruins a good movie like a bad third act into a bad ending. Makes me think of the Wonder Woman movie. Love the Wonder Woman movie. Had a really stupid ending though. Wonder Woman's thing is not love. I mean, she loves people. She has a love for mankind. But once again, to kind of derail the conversation into something else. If you've ever seen the Wonder Woman movie, I can't be the only one who hates the ending, because they made it as if her thing is love. Like, you must love, and I'm like, no, her thing is truth. Like, that's literally, like, Wonder Woman's thing is about truth, and the truth of the world is that there is good and there is evil in everyone, but you can use love and compassion to be better. But the movie kind of ends with her like I don't know, if you ever seen if you've seen the Wonder Woman movie, let me know what you think of, if you think I'm right when I say this. The movie ends as if her entire theme was about her love the love between her and the main guy. And no, Wonder Woman's thing is about the truth, and the truth comes down to this: mankind goes to war, but mankind has the ability to also be good. And I'm assuming that's what they were aiming for, but it just didn't come across that way. So any movie that's like, man, you had a great movie, had great characters, and then you kind of drop the ball at the last minute, it is just a shame when that happens. Trying to see if I could like sharpen these teeth like at the tip a little bit more. To like pinch it. Okay. These three are gonna be a pain because they're so damn close to each other. That's the wrong tool. Trying to move this freaking screen so I can see what I'm doing better. On camera, that is. Someone's trying to call me. Stand by, guys. I gotta freaking see what the hell's going on. Sorry about that. I don't know. Some people will be like, you should just put your phone on airplane mode when you're streaming. And though that is a good idea, I don't like being cut off from like certain, from family members and whatnot in case of emergency. Yeah, I know. Some old fogey's gonna be like, oh, in the old days we didn't always have to have our phone. That's true, but if you have family members you want to keep an eye on, because they might not be doing well physically or whatever, having that phone is a good thing. little tiny, tiny dentist caps for all these teeth. And once again, it's getting a little, the clay's getting a little harder as I go along, which is good on some spots, annoying on the others. I have a tool here that's like a hard rectangle spatula. I want to use it to cut a piece off. Ow, as I poke myself. That right there, this guy right here. There we go. I'm basically trying to sharpen the edges on some of these teeth. It's like chiseling the side of the teeth. And then I could go in there with this softer spatula. And the pieces I just chiseled off, I'll just flatten them. Flatten them into the inner mouth detail. Okay, 2 more teeth on the edge. As my headphones are just knocking down everything. Very nice. Very nice. Where's the spatula piece I just used? Okay, your hook. Your spatula. Here we go. And once again, this is why you only mix a little bit at a time, especially if you're doing fine detail stuff like this. Sometimes you don't even get to it by the time you need to, you know, correct something. So it starts to get harder and harder as it goes. Smooth it out, smooth it out. Trying to get in between the teeth, like around in between the teeth. Of all, you know, basically trying to smooth out all the material I've been removing and it's been falling in there, like chipping into it. Okay. We have a little bit of clay here, which is actually more than we need for this last tooth. And then I could probably just use whatever's left of that and just do some like little fine details on the edges. Get it nice and wet. There we go. Smooth it out with my finger. I still got enough room to do that with my finger at least. This guy's on the edge, so. Once again, I gotta make sure I'm better in camera because I put it close to my face, like right about here. And then, you know, you guys can't see it, and I apologize for that. Using this ball tool, I'm gonna flatten out all the material. Like I said, that keeps falling between the teeth as I work. And then I could, you know, try and, before it dries, I could try and do a bit more sculpted on the inside. I want to do, once again, the striations A, because it will capture a lot of the paint as well, and B, because I want it to look, organic. Now we have a small amount, which is perfect. I'm going to put it, I'm going to do some noodles, like little strips of flesh, if you would. Stick it to my finger. Wet the finger first. Fan it out. Blow on it. And then apply. There we go. Just using the last of it to fill up this little like weird divot right here that I do not like. Freaking wet hands, come on. Freaking. I need wet hands, as they used to say. Because it keeps sticking to me. Get over here. I saw you. I have a piece here that keeps sliding because it's sitting on it. There's like a layer of water between it and what's beneath it, and it is just fighting me. So I might do, not now, but once it's actually pretty dried, I might do another like spaghetti layer above the gums on both sides, and then merge that and then blend that into the actual the rest of it. Might want to add another spaghetti layer here. Like I'm doing over here, like I'm giving some depth. Might add one over here, a few strands over here as well. But for now, I think that's it. Yeah, sculpted a nice little creepy dude. Do I want that? It is 10:34. Do I want to continue and try and just get? Should we finish this off like this little layer right here? You know what? Let me see if. You know what? Let's do it, guys. Let's take another 5-10 minutes and get just a small amount of this stuff out of here. I think I said the pink settles. Because it settles, it pulls the plastic down with it. So I'm not sure if I'm pulling, there we go, clay or the plastic. Ah, that was my head. Stand by. I need to fix what I'm doing here. How much do we need? How much do we need? Let's get 3 little. About that much. 3 little guys. Once again, it's epoxy, so we can keep them separate. Keep them on this mat. And tomorrow I could come back and they'll still be there. Okay, 3 of those. Bent this tool, didn't I? Don't want to break my freaking tools, man. Where are you, spoon? My mighty clay spoon, where are you? Watch, I'll find it like as soon as the stream is done. I'm gonna turn him. It's gonna be like right next to my feet or something. Nope, not enough. Hold on. Hold on. I got my freaking headphones on. Gotta take them off. Okay. Let's see. So those two match and scale perfectly. Let go. Let go of me. Nope, don't go to each other like magnets. Just stay away, stay separate. There we go. There we go. I got a nice big chunk out the bag. Almost got a nice big chunk. Perfecto. One more chunk. One more little guy. And that's that. Alright, let's mix these guys. Wipe my hands again because everything's all sticky. Gonna mix these guys again. We're going to go ahead and just build up the gums a little bit more. We're not gonna touch this guy. He's gonna just stay for now. Standing beside me. Suddenly someone standing right again. I think my mom's favorite song from that movie. I don't know if she saw the movie. I'm guessing she saw the movie before I did. No, I mean, she might have. The movie was in the 80s. I forget the exact time it came out though, but once the 80s. But my mom loves the song "You'll Be a Dentist," and it's about the not Satanist. That's not the right word. It's not the right word. It's not Satanist. It's Crud. If you like pain, you're a masochist. If you inflict pain, it's sadist. It's sadist, not Satanist. Sadist. That's it. It's about a dentist who's a sadist. He loves causing people pain. That's like the actual lyric of the song. The whole gimmick is that the song he sings about being a dentist, his mom tells him, "I know you like hurting things, so you should be a dentist, because then you'll be famous." And that's the whole song. Like he's basically singing about how he loves being a dentist because it's the only job where he could like hurt people and like not get in trouble for it. Ideally, that's kind of the idea of the song. That looks nice. Don't get stuck to my finger. Shit. What I should do is also find a way to glue my logo on the back of these. Merchandising. Where the real money of the movie's made. Spaceballs with flamethrower. You're not mixed well enough. I can see the different color tones. Like this one's fighting me. The gray side of this two part does kind of dry. Like it does get a little stiff. It doesn't go completely dry, but it dries enough where you have to like really work into it to make sure it kneads correctly. Yeah, I should do it. That's much better. Yeah, I didn't want to add something to this that would like stay uncured and then really mess up everything. Cut this off. Use my nail. Snip. There we go. Use my nail again to do a little curve at the base of these two teeth. Make sure it curves with it. It's a great scene in Little Shop of Horrors, which actually works for what I'm doing. It's during the song "You'll Be a Dentist," and they made like behind the scenes they made a giant mouth with like teeth and spit and the giant undulating tongue and lips. Cause the camera is inside the mouth, looking out as the dentist is drilling. So they have this great foreshortening where he's at his hand, he's holding a drilling tool. But of course, as it gets to the camera, they rather than use foreshortening, they built the tool to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So like the drill was like the size of my fingers. Then it gets narrower and narrower to the point where the actor's holding something this big, because you're inside the mouth looking out as he's singing the song, and the guy who's in the dentist chair is singing with him, which is why the tongue is like moving and everything. Make a career of causing people pain. You'll be a dentist. Okay. Let's use. Might not even need. I can't talk today. Might not even need to use all of this a little bit. I'm just gonna do these two teeth here. And maybe I'll add some on the back to like once again wrap this whole thing around, because who knows, even this yellow material might still be shrinking underneath all of this. So I want to make sure it adheres cleanly. I gotta cut my nails. I usually try to cut my nails before I do any kind of sculpting material. Clay or epoxy clay or whatever. It's just, I should do that beforehand, but I I forget sometimes. Okay. I just want to do that, get that, curve that, and then we're going to pull it all back. So curving it around the teeth and then pulling it back. Little pinch above, I guess call it that, above that particular line, right here. And then blend it in. Make sure I wet it. Work the edge of the gum. Let me do the same on the bottom. Kind of push it back away from the tooth to really get the wave. And I want to say, can we say we're done? This spot right here, every time I touch it, it slides. Like I said, it's actually has like a layer. You can tell there's like a layer of water beneath it. So I gotta be careful when I sculpt that. But I want to say that's it. That's it. I want to say that's it. That we got it. Any more fiddling and it might explode on me at that point. Gonna take what's left. And like I said, we're gonna do the back side of it. Very carefully. Don't want to mess up the front side. We'll just take little bits and just smush it in there with our fingers. Just kind of wrapping the edge. Give it, as I blow on it, give it a far less chance of it cracking off. Waste not, want not, every last bit gets used to some extent. Chop that in half, chop, chop, there we go. Okay. You can see how it's kind of like just kind of bleeding over the edge on the backside in multiple places. And I can always add more. Heck, I can even add like epoxy glue on the edge just to really hold it. But that, let me shrink the screen down so I can make sure I'm seeing the same thing. Make sure I can see the same thing you guys are seeing. That is our first pin, our first new pin. Done. Just a creepy mouth with lots of flesh around it. Yeah, and then I changed the light to a yellow tone. I think it does help on camera a lot more. Makes it, you can see a lot of the brightness and like contrast more on camera. You see more contrast on camera than I do in my own hand. And that's good. That good. So that good. It good. There's some spots that have little fingerprints on them. I guess it kind of works with the texture as well. But that is it. That will be it for tonight, guys. I say as I continue picking at it. I'm not sure how well my sculpting skills are. It took us about, man, yeah, we started a little after 8. Let's say 8:15. It is now about 11 o'clock. So that is an almost 3-hour stream. Let's say 2.5 hours. We have the mouth done. I'm pretty sure it's done. In terms of sculpting, on the back end, I might do some details. We started building up the bottom half of Audrey's face. There's gonna be just a big old Audrey head. I'll do some like vine tendrils, maybe some leaves, like just kind of keep it in a rounded area. That's gonna be Audrey. And once again, we have a ghost, a slime dude, a goat dude, a werewolf-esque dude, creature ripping out of flesh, maggoty stuff, and maybe some pizzas. Pizza. I could probably do a whole if I don't want to do monsters. If I make some really nice, cool looking pizzas, I could probably do like a whole set of pins that are just like pizzas on plates, like really New Yorker kind of stuff, you know? But nah, I'll think about that. And as I attempt, because it's epoxy. I mean, the good thing about it being epoxy, you go to like just take a piece of sandpaper and like when it's dry, just kind of scrape it off the tool. But if the tool is something rounded, like one of these almost ball bearing-esque tips, you don't want to lose that. You don't want to lose that piece. Also, it doesn't help that I tend to get all of the freaking material on the handles, on the wooden handles and everything. But I think everything we need is clean. Let me see. Any last minute chat? Just want to double check. Nope. All right. This mat was an amazing idea. I keep dropping my freaking. Oh, come here. This mat is an amazing idea. Like freaking. What was it? Once again, I got this for like $7. On eBay, I think they go for like 10. I say eBay. On Amazon, they go for probably 10, and that's without the shipping. I got this for 7. Love this mat. I have no idea what the name is though. Just type in like watercolor mat, and you'll find this like latex, not latex, silicone watercolor mat for like arts and crafts. That's where you'll find this kind of mat. And yeah, that's it. We are good. Let me click something there. There we go. That's it. We are good. I am happy. I'm stammering because my back hurts and I'm kind of like, I'm a little dizzy from back pain. But this is a great start to the new set of pins. Maybe then I'll get the old pins I did and show them again. Show those in the next stream to kind of show you what the final look is. But yeah, and I want to say thank you for joining me. Thank you, Katorius Rex, for dropping in. Thank you to everyone who might be watching this in the future. Check me out on all the social medias on the side. DeviantArt is where I usually try to put completed stuff. Instagram is works in progress, so I might actually put photos of these up as I go along. Twitter is my general ramblings. YouTube is where you're going to see all old streams that are saved, as well as scripted videos on how to do videos and my quick vids. But if you're looking for a overall location, check out my new website. It is daburgosart.com. Theburgosart.com. That's where I have a general gallery of stuff I've been doing recently on the front page. General info about me, contact info. And I also have a few small portfolios of my toy design, concept designs, and things like that. And of course, links to all the social medias are on that website as well. And I believe that's it for tonight. So once again, guys, I am Dante. Like, favorite, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And I'll see you in the future. Later.